Assembled. Good morning. I call the meeting of the Arizona Board of Regents to order. Suzanne, would you please confirm we have a quorum?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. A link to the live stream of the public meeting is available on the board's website under ABOR Live or by going to YouTube and searching for ABOR News. Regent Fisher, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two points of order before we start. One, President Cruz Rivera, thank you for hosting us. You and your team have done your usual stellar job of getting organized and making us feel welcome. So we are grateful for all that you do. And thank you to you and your extended team. Putting together a meeting of this size is no small task, and we're grateful for all you've done. Second, earlier this week, Governor Hobbs continued her pattern of stellar appointments to the Board of Regents. On Monday, she nominated Jim McCain to fill a vacancy on the board. Regent McCain, who assumes his role immediately, comes to us with a deep commitment to public service and as a participant in the realm of higher ed, having actually gotten 2 master's degrees and continuing his education currently in another realm. He enlisted in the Marines at age 17 and has served with great distinction in multiple deployments overseas. He continues his service to our country this day as a member of the National Guard and will extend his public service with 8 years on the Arizona Board of Regents. Regent McCain, it is with genuine enthusiasm that we welcome you to this board. It is our great honor to have you in our ranks. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Regent Goodyear, and thank you to the board and the universities. I appreciate everyone allowing me to be here today, and I'm excited to get moving for the goals for the state of Arizona and for everyone. I'm eager to learn, and I'm eager to help in every way I can. Thank you. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you and welcome. So, yes.
Just a comment. Regent McCain, you and I talked only briefly this morning, but I already knew something of you before the governor appointed you. And I just want to say, to echo what Chairman Goodyear has said, you bring a wealth of experience, your knowledge of the military, your knowledge, as you and I discussed this morning, of veteran affairs and the need to really do more to support our veterans, I think is a very important perspective to bring to this board. But you've also bring a knowledge of the universities through your studies, going to one great university that I know well, Trinity in Dublin, Ireland, and to another, Arizona State University. So welcome to the Board of Regents. Thank you for taking this on.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments? All right. So here's how today shapes up. We're going to start with a call to the audience, followed by executive session, where we will cover the items listed on the executive session portion of the agenda. Public session will resume this afternoon at approximately 1 p.m. And then on Friday morning, the board will reconvene in executive session for the remaining executive session items. We are going to do things a little bit differently this morning in terms of I would like to make the motion now for the board to enter into executive session immediately following the call to the audience. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Hello, Cecilia. Excuse me, Regent Mata. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. So everyone, please stay. We are going to begin the call to the audience, but we are going to start with a video.
During our regular board meetings, the Arizona Board of Regents and the public universities set aside 30 minutes for call to the audience to invite members of the public to address the board. This is an opportunity for individuals to express their views or concerns regarding matters of board governance in a public setting. Call to the audience is just one way the public can address the board. Alternate ways are available through our website at www.azregents.edu. To ensure a fair distribution of time for each call to the audience speaker, the board has a policy governing the call to the audience. If you have any materials for the regents, please give them to our board secretary, and she will distribute them to the board. ABOR Policy 1-114 states that subject to the discretion of the chair, requests to appear before the board shall be scheduled in the following order of priority until the available time is exhausted. 1. Speakers who wish to address matters scheduled for the current meeting agenda. 2. Speakers who wish to address matters not scheduled for the current meeting agenda and who have not addressed the board at a call to the audience in the previous 6 months. 3. Speakers who wish to address matters not scheduled for the current meeting agenda and who have addressed the board at a call to the audience in the previous 6 months. Please note that if a speaker does not identify a topic, they will be treated as addressing a matter which is not scheduled for board action or discussion at that meeting. Generally, the board will not respond to comments or presentations made at the call to the audience, but may refer matters to its staff or to university personnel for study or recommendations. The board reserves the right to limit the number of presenters on any one topic. The chair will determine the length of time for each speaker based on the number of requests received. When you are called to speak, please proceed to the lectern. When the speaker has reached the allotted time, the board chair will ask the speaker to conclude their comments. After 10 seconds, the chair will thank the speaker and ask the board secretary to call the next speaker. When the allotted 30 minutes of call to the audience is complete, any speakers not called may submit their comments to the board through the board's website. Speakers may also provide any materials to the board secretary to disseminate to the regents. Thank you for your thoughtful engagement and adherence to the guidelines for call to the audience.
Given the number of speaking requests that we've had today, to keep us on schedule, each speaker has 2 minutes. We will enforce this strictly. As a courtesy to each speaker, our board secretary, Suzanne, will hold up a sign signaling how much time the speaker has left. Once your time is up, the microphone will be turned off and the next speaker will be called. We want to hear from as many speakers as possible, so please be respectful of other people's time. And as the video mentioned, we take input many ways, not just through public speaking here. If you have comments or observations, you are more than welcome to submit them in writing to our board secretary or to the website. Suzanne, please call our first speaker.
When your name is called, please proceed to the assigned podium, A or B. Our first speaker is Gracie Martinez at podium A, followed by Savannah Glenn at podium B.
Good morning, everyone, Regents, and Chair Goodyear. My name is Gracie Martinez, and I'm here representing ASNAU as their Vice President of Civic Affairs. I'm here as a student who cares deeply about one thing we cannot compromise: student safety. Creating a safe and supportive campus through strong emergency planning, visible safety measures, and inclusive policies is essential for students to learn and grow. Our students began the semester with swatting calls, false reports of active shooters that created fear across Arizona. I also want to raise concern about the consideration to remove our campus's emergency blue light systems in favor of online reporting. While technology is important, physical blue lights are a visible, constant reassurance that help is nearby and accessible. Without safety, learning cannot truly happen. Students need confidence in their campus's preparedness and clear communication that their safety is being taken seriously. And safety goes beyond physical threats. We are facing a projected 30 to 40% drop in international student enrollment due to new visa restrictions and travel bans. These students do far more than pay tuition. They enrich our communities with cultural diversity, contribute to innovation and research, and often volunteer, work locally, helping our cities thrive. On average, each student contributes about $35,000 annually to local economy, supporting housing and small businesses. Losing them would not only be an economic hit, but a loss to the fabric of our community. We must ensure our campuses remain welcoming, inclusive, and supportive for all students' freedoms, no matter where they come from. So I ask, how can ABOR work with state leaders to fund a permanent, dedicated team to review school emergency plans? What are you going to implement to make sure safety plans and procedures are accessible to students? How will you ensure that every student, domestic and international, feels secure, supported, and valued?
Please conclude your remarks.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Savannah Glenn at podium B, followed by Isha Seda. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning, and thank you to the Regents and Chairman Goodyear for being here today. I would appreciate your full attention at this time. My name is Savannah Glenn, and I am here as a member of the Associated Students of Northern Arizona University on behalf of the students of NAU to discuss the growing issue of housing insecurity. Housing is a necessary but also very expensive commodity in Flagstaff. Students at NAU and those in the Flagstaff community as well struggle to face the increasing cost of living in this city every single day. NAU on-campus living expenses currently cost students $16,826 on average, which is above the national average of $14,951. In addition to rising prices, over the last few years, on-campus housing has also become increasingly cramped, with many communities having 3 or 4 students sharing one room and still paying higher rates than students living off-campus. There are countless stories I could tell you about students who have been negatively impacted by housing insecurity at NAU. A colleague of mine is from Page, Arizona, which is over a 2-hour drive from Flagstaff. During their sophomore year at NAU, they could not afford to live either on campus nor off campus, and instead had to commute from Page once a week to attend classes and participate in their work with ASNAU on campus. Another friend of mine from Mesa, Arizona had 1 semester left to complete their degree, but could not afford to live in Flagstaff anymore. They had to transfer to ASU so that they could live at home with their parents to finish their last semester because housing was just too expensive, even with financial aid, scholarships, and help from their family. Having a comfortable and affordable living situation is essential to student success, and the current system that is in place is not fair for anyone. Housing should not be a deterrent for students to come to Arizona schools. It should be an attractive bonus that students feel is worthy of their money in addition to the other costs involved in attending these universities. I urge you to consider ways that housing can be made more affordable and fair for all students in Arizona. Thank you for your time.
Isha Seda at podium A, followed by Elham Shalabi. Please proceed to podium B.
Good morning, esteemed members of the Arizona Board of Regents. Hi, President Cruz, Regent Fisher, and everyone here today. My name is Isha Seda, and I am here representing ASNAU as their student body president. At ASNAU, our guiding motto is "Because of the student, we exist," and this year that motto has felt more real than ever. Like many parts of this university, ASNAU is feeling the effects of declining enrollment. Our budget has seen a bit of that decrease, and for us, that doesn't just mean smaller numbers on paper. It means fewer opportunities to invest in programming, less flexibility to fund new ideas, and harder choices about which student needs can be met. It means telling passionate student leaders with big visions, we believe in your idea, but we don't have the resources to make it happen right now. We're committed to working on solutions, and we will, but I share this because it reflects a larger truth. When enrollment goes down, the pressure doesn't just fall on budget, it falls on students themselves, who may feel like their opportunities and resources are shrinking alongside those numbers. That's why today is so important. When students step forward to share their stories, it's not just about what they need right now, it's about what will keep them here tomorrow. It's about making sure the students who remain at NAU don't feel like they're being asked to do more with less. And that brings me to one idea I leave you with. The call to audience is one of the few spaces where students can come directly to you, unfiltered, to share what's on their minds. When a resource like this exists, students will use it. As we're seeing today, instead of limiting that by cutting time or restricting who gets to speak, what if it was expanded? Imagine moving from 30 minutes to an hour. Imagine saying if students show up ready to speak, we will make time to listen, because it shouldn't matter who's speaking or what they're speaking about. What matters is that they are here and they deserve to be heard. At the end of the day, it comes back to that same truth. Because of the student, we exist. Thank you.
Elham Shalavid at podium B, followed by Jasmine Litovsky. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning, everyone. Dear board members, regents, my fellow students organizations, my name is Ilham Shalabi, and I'm GPSC Policy Director at the University of Arizona. That stands for the Graduate and Professional Student Council. I'm a doctoral candidate in the higher education program, finishing my 5th year, and I'm an international student. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the graduate students of the University of Arizona, as well as all graduate students. I would like to address the issue of the financial struggles that graduate students are suffering from, especially with the recent federal government grants cuts. Graduate students are concerned about completing their programs. No, it's a matter of retention, not only compromising the well-being of the students. I ask the university's leadership to prioritize the financial well-being of graduate students when making institutional decisions. I also kindly ask you to include graduate students to address these problems. In addition to that, being international students, I would love to address the recent visa changes for international students. These changes are causing a lot of stress and anxiety for international students, mainly because of lack of information, transparency about the situation, as well as their safety on campuses. So I would love to ask university leadership to provide immediate and transparent communication about these changes, as well as legal support when it comes to immigration situations. In addition to that, safety on campus become a very serious issue, especially with the recent shooting in the University of Utah. I would love to address the board to take measures to reconcile political division, to start dialogue about political engagement and civic engagement, and to work with the principle, let's agree to disagree. Thank you so much.
Jasmine Litovsky at podium A, followed by Mercedes Sandoval. Please proceed to podium B.
Good morning, Regents and Chair Goodyear. My name is Jasmine, and I'm here on behalf of ASNAU as a senator to discuss the topic, the University Union Multipurpose Facility, or more commonly known on campus as the university's ice rink. Since its construction in 1966, the University Union Fieldhouse has served as a hub for a multitude of NAU's valuable departments and resources. Being located in an ideal location for student access, the Fieldhouse plays a key role in student engagement and well-being during their time at NAU. Beginning in 2016, a majority of the construction for what would be the on-campus ice rink began. The project has currently been put on pause despite student body support, with the petition sitting currently at 4,856 signatures and the potential financial and student-focused benefits. Regarding the financial benefits, the cost of this project is considerably lower compared to the other Arizona Public University's ice facility, sitting at a 12th and a 27th of the cost of U of A's and ASU's ice rink facilities, respectively. Only a few major items remain to be purchased, leaving previously made investments sitting static as we wait on these last few purchases. For the student-oriented benefits, the completion of the rink would allow for on-campus hockey games for both the D2 and D3 Ice Jack teams, allowing for the sale of concessions, merchandise, tickets, and more, ultimately leading to financial gain for the institution. The multi-purpose rink would not be limited to hockey. It would be used for other events, including club events, Greek life events, university events, and possibly community events. The completion and operation of an on-campus multi-purpose ice rink would promote and foster community both within the student body, the City of Flagstaff, as well as diversity and an opportunity for involvement for many campus clubs and organizations. As NAU continues to strive towards its elevated excellence and community engagement goals, it is vital that the university stay on par with its neighboring universities in Arizona. By supporting the completion of this facility, ABER would directly be supporting the well-being of the students and contributing to the opportunities shared between the three public Arizona universities. I'd like to thank ABOR, Chair Goodyear, and NAU for hosting and for your time, consideration on the matter.
Please conclude your remarks.
Your support and attention to the student body. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mercedes Sandoval at podium B, followed by Fernando Joaquin. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning,
Chair Goodyear and Regents. My name is Mercedes Sandoval, and I work for Aramark, Arizona State University, and for the West Campus. I am proud to be a member at the Unite Here Local 11, and I'm proud to represent the university and serve the students. And my coworkers and I are here today because not only are we facing issues like lack of respect and understanding at work, but are also struggling to make ends meet, and our wages are very low at work and the work we do. I'm a single mother and the only provider for my son and me, and I am being paid just isn't enough. I struggle to pay bills and rent and car insurance, and I often have to borrow money to pay my rent. I rarely have food enough in my house, and I always afford groceries, and I don't afford groceries, so I'm going to work, and it costs me to just go to work and the parking. So I can't even save money enough when we get laid off in the summer or during the spring break. When I do not get paid enough unemployment, I don't even cover the basic needs. I am asking for more because I am doing my best, but it's still not enough. Thank you.
The next speaker is Fernando Joaquin at podium A, followed by Eric Cadman. Please proceed to podium B.
Good morning, Board of Regents. My name is Fernando Rucchini. I also work at ASU Barrett Unit, and I'm a proud member of the United Here Local 11. And like my other coworker, facing not making enough money to survive. I can't even afford medical. I don't have medical. So if something happens to me, I'm pretty much out on the street because I'll lose my house because I had to pay medical bills, which I can't afford. And then I'll be out of work for so long. So it's very hard struggling knowing that I don't have medical. And that's all I want, is to be paid to where I could afford to have medical at least. And the parking situation, we need to address that because we have to walk like a half a mile just to get to work because we can't afford to pay the parking. So, yeah, I guess that would be it. Thank you.
The next speaker is Eric Cadman at podium B, followed by Natalie Dalton. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning, A Board Chair. It's good to be back. I was here in February when you were in ASU. My name is Eric Cadman. I'm a shop steward at ASU. I work at the Hacienda Dining Hall. Our union represents about 650 employees of Aramark at the 4 Arizona State University campuses. Our members are dining hall workers, food service attendants, utility workers, and baristas. Workers are making very low wages. Most workers make just $19 an hour. I know that's how much I'm making. Student workers for Aramark make even less, typically working for just a minimum wage of $15.15. And I can tell you that these are some of the hardest working people that you'll ever see going for a doctorate, making sandwiches at the same time. Healthcare is not affordable, especially given the low wages, and workers lack enough benefits to feel security in their retirement. There are many of my coworkers who desperately want to get healthcare for themselves, but they simply cannot afford it, and supervisors pay outrageous costs themselves for simple basic coverage. Understaffing is a primary issue for many workers. Workers' collective bargaining agreement with Aramark expired in August, and as we enter negotiations soon, we expect that this will be a contentious contract fight. When workers have confronted management about workplace issues, the attitude of management has been very negative. Since the start of the semester, nearly 150 workers have already quit due to the working conditions. While a better economic package is an essential part of ensuring full staffing, we expect Aramark to put up stiff resistance to the change that's necessary. A laborious and drawn-out contract fight will almost certainly mean labor unrest and disruption. Our goal of coming to speak to you
Please
today,
conclude your remarks.
yes, is to establish a dialogue of work with the Board of Regents as these disputes arise with Aramark. Our members will not stand for anything less than a fair contract, and our union is prepared to fight for it. Thank you.
The next speaker is Natalie Dalton at podium A, followed by Ashley Ray. Please proceed to podium B.
Good morning, Chair Goodyear and Regents. My name is Natalie Dalton. I work at Aramark at Arizona State University at the Memorial Union campus in the bakery department. I am a proud member of the union here, Local 11. I am proud to represent the university and serve the students. This summer was rough. I've been homeless before and am doing everything I can to avoid that again. As the main breadwinner of my household with 2 young kids, it's hard to find housing because landlords expect income and deposits that I can't afford. I just want to be able to take care of myself and my children. My coworkers and I are here today because not only are we facing issues like lack of respect and understaffing at work, but we are also struggling to make ends meet. Our wages are very low for the work that we do. It's tough when we fear we won't be able to send our kids to college because we live paycheck to paycheck and can't save for the future. Our collective bargaining agreement expired in August. We are about to enter negotiations that I fear will be contentious. My coworkers and I are ready to take action to fight for what we deserve, and the potential for labor conflict and disruption in services is real. We are here because we want to bring the issues we are facing to light and work with you as issues arise. Thank you for your time and for listening.
The next speaker is Ashley Ray at podium B, followed by Bertha Mong. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning, Board of Regents. My name is Ashley Ray. I work for Aramark at Arizona State University on the downtown campus. I'm a proud member of Unite Here Local 11. I'm proud to represent the university and serve the students. Since the beginning of the semester, nearly 150 workers have resigned their positions. What I've heard is that people who quit were too overwhelmed by the constant rush and the understaffing. I'm the only full-time person in my unit, and management keeps assigning new people for me to train, even though I was barely trained myself. I rarely get a full 15-minute break, and it's hard to take a 30-minute lunch because I have to wait for a manager to send someone to cover me. I feel it too. I'm on my feet all day and it's hard to get a break. I can't blame them, but I can't leave this job because I just moved here and I'm my only support system. Our collective bargaining agreement expired in August, which means that workers in our union have the right to strike and picket as part of our fight for what we deserve. We're about to enter negotiations that I fear will be contentious, but we're determined to win. We're here because we want to bring the issues we are facing to light as labor conflict becomes likely. Thank you for your time and for listening.
The next speaker is Bertha Mong at podium A, followed by Mariposa Gallegos. Please proceed to podium B.
I'm going to translate.
Buenos días, presidente Goodyear y regentes. Mi nombre es Berta Monge. Trabajo para Aramark en la Universidad Estatal de Arizona en el campus Tempe. Soy una orgullosa miembro de United Here Local 11. Me enorgullece representar a la universidad y servir a los estudiantes. Vivo sola y pago $1,600 de alquiler sin ayuda para mis facturas. Acabo de ser operada y estuve sin trabajar durante 1 mes y medio. Mientras me recuperaba, también cuido de mi madre, que ya es anciana, y me preocupa que me pase algo en mi trabajo, como caerme y no tener a nadie que me ayude hasta que llegue a casa. Es muy estresante y no tener apoyo y temer tener una enfermedad y no poder trabajar.
Good morning, Chair Goodyear and Regents. My name is Berta Monge, and I work for Aramark at Arizona State University at the Tempe campus. I'm a proud member of Unite Here Local 11. I'm proud to represent the university and serve the students. I live alone and pay $1,600 in rent with no help for my bills. I just had surgery and was out of work for a month recovering. I also take care of my elderly mother and worry that something might happen to her while I'm at work, like falling and having no one there until I get home. It's very stressful to have no support and fear getting sick and unable to work.
Poder trabajar y mis compañeros de trabajo y yo estamos aquí hoy porque no solo enfrentamos problemas como la falta de respeto y la falta de personal, sino también tenemos dificultades para llegar a fin de mes. Nuestros salarios son muy bajos para el trabajo que hacemos, pero es difícil cuando tememos no poder enviar a nuestros hijos a la universidad porque vivimos al día y no podemos ahorrar para el futuro.
My coworkers and I are here today because not only are we facing issues like lack of respect and understaffing at work, but we're also struggling to make ends meet. Our wages are very low for the work we do.
Thank you, Suzanne. Please call the next speaker.
The next speaker is Mariposa Gallegos at podium B, followed by Vicente Martinez. Please proceed to podium A.
Hi there. My name is Maxwell Yulin. I'm an attorney for Unite Here. Mariposa has asked me to help her read out her comments, so I'm just going to for the sake of expediency, just get those into the record. So, good morning. My name is
Mariposa Gallegos.
I work for Aramark at Arizona State University on the Arizona State campus. What campus do you work at?
Phoenix Downtown.
Phoenix Downtown. I'm a proud member of Unite Here Local 11. I'm proud to represent the university and serve the students. But right now, I'll be honest, it's tough going into work because of the disrespect we face from management on top of being understaffed. There is a constant rush all day at the dining hall and restaurant. At the same time, I'm worried because our wages are low and healthcare is very expensive. I have diabetes and need surgery. And even with AHCCCS, I am in constant pain. It hurts to walk. I'm the only one supporting myself, and I don't know how I'll cover bills and get the care I need. I can't afford to take time off, especially after going unpaid over the summer. I usually work 2 jobs, but right now the pain is too much. Our collective bargaining agreement expired in August. We are about to enter negotiations, where we will be advocating for staffing protections and higher wages. Given the needs for our members and our impression of Aramark, I fear that bargaining will be contentious, but my coworkers and I won't stand for less than what we deserve, and we're prepared to fight for it, whatever it takes. Thank you for your time and for listening.
The next speaker is Vicente Martinez at podium A, followed by Angelica Delgado. Please proceed to podium B.
Good morning, Board of Regents. My name is Vicente. I work for Aramar at Arizona State University at the Tempe campus. I am a proud member of Unite Here Local 11. I am here to represent the university and serve the students. I've seen lots of disrespects from management, and it caused many of people to quit. We started the year with fewer workers than before, and now we're all stretched thin. One of my old coworkers used to have help and prep workers, but now they're gone. Last year, 2 or 3 people shared my workload, and now it's just me. Since the beginning of the semester, nearly 150 workers have resigned their positions. What I've heard that people who quit were too overwhelmed by constant rush and understaffing. I feel it too. I am on my feet all day, and it's hard to get a rest break. I can't blame them, but I can't leave this job because I have a family to support. Our collective bargaining agreement expired in August, which means that workers and our union have the right to strike and picket as part of our fight for what we deserve. We are about to enter negotiations that I fear will continue, but we are determined to win. We are here because we want to bring the issues we are facing to light as labor conflict becomes lightly. Thank you for your time and listening.
The next speaker is Angelica Delgado at podium B, followed by Mark Stegman. Please proceed to podium A.
Good morning. My name is Angelica, and I work at Aramark at Arizona State University on the Tempe campus. I'm a proud member of Unite Here Local 11, and I am proud to represent the university and serve the students. But right now, I'll be honest, it's tough going into work because of the disrespect we face from management on top of being very understaffed. My department is extremely understaffed, and some days people are working 2 to 4 hours of overtime. No one feels comfortable asking to leave at their scheduled time because the expectation is to stay until all the work is done. We never know what to expect each day and when our shift will actually end. Our collective bargaining agreement expired in August, and we are about to enter negotiations where we will be advocating for staff protections and higher wages. Given the needs of our members and our impression of Aramark, I fear the bargaining will be contentious. But my coworkers and I won't stand for less than what we deserve, and we are prepared to fight for it, whatever it takes. Thank you for your time and for listening.
The next speaker is Mark Stegman at podium A, followed by Scott Minor. Please proceed to podium B.
Should I start? I feel that my remarks are prosaic relative to what has come before me, but I shall proceed. 5 years ago, this board showed vision in requiring the universities to provide college-level civics education to all students. As some of you may remember, I wrote to you 4 years ago concerned about UA's progress on civics. Since then, 4 special committees, task forces, and advisory groups formed, met usefully for a time, and then disappeared, but the previous administration was never able to produce a coherent implementation plan and timeline. With others' help, I built on prior work and distributed a detailed civics implementation proposal in February. It may not have been the best possible, but it covered about 30 points that we already know can cause problems later. But nothing yet moved. Finally, last month, the Standing Gen Ed Committee, where I'm serving in my 15th year, received the first official proposal from the administration. This is great. A revised proposal started circulating this week, but these proposals are only about 20 words long. So there's much planning and work to do to avoid some of the issues, delays, and policy reversals that have accompanied quick rollouts of some other parts of UA's Refresh Gen Ed program. This process should include meaningful engagement of the Faculty Senate, which is a primary organ of shared governance. Curriculum is its major area of responsibility, and this is probably the biggest item that it will consider over the next 2 years. The senators do not speak a lot, many of them, because senators and issues are many and meetings are short, but they have much wisdom and insight to offer. Unlike the excellent committees that give preliminary approval to proposals for new programs and majors, which are dominated by administrators at administrative appointments, most senators are elected representatives from units across campus. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I missed the signal. Please be patient. This is a great start. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Scott Minor at podium B.
Hi, I did my undergrad and PhD at ASU, and I'm a former employee there. I don't think the tobacco lobbyists who sold cancer to kids and get kicked out of presidential campaigns for representing a junta in Myanmar, or people whose companies traffic in weapons, or drug pushers dressing up in suits, pretending that they're respectable and decent, should be undemocratically determining the direction of higher education in this state simply because they donated to politicians and bought their seats on this board. How many people have you indirectly murdered? It's staggering. Article 11, Section 6 of the Arizona State Constitution says, "The university and all other state education institutions shall be open to students of both sexes, and the instruction furnished shall be as nearly free as possible." That is your job, not to further enrich yourselves or your oligarch benefactors, nor to turn our universities into R&D wings for military-industrial companies. My hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt says you're doing a terrible job. Meanwhile, you have ICE terrorizing students. You're hosting vigils for disingenuous, pseudo-intellectual, faux debater, Christo-fascist white nationalists who put your students at risk literally got your professors assaulted and said innocent people getting shot, this is his words, not mine, and killed, was a fair price to pay for our, air quotes, God-given right to man-made point-and-click murder remotes. You're doing a great job. You should all be ashamed. You should all be removed and replaced. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Goodyear.
All right, thank you everyone for your remarks. The board will now convene in executive session. We are in recess. Good afternoon. I want to welcome everyone attending today's meeting. The meeting of the Arizona Board of Regents was called to order earlier this morning. Today's public session is scheduled until 3:20 p.m. A link to the live stream of the public meeting is available on the board's website under ABOR Live or by going to YouTube and searching for ABOR News. One thing about this afternoon's meeting, there will be several items that we are voting on. And so Regent McCain, as a newcomer, we are not expecting you to necessarily cast votes on things that you may not be fully aware of. So if there are abstentions, that is fine. And I don't think anybody expects you to be casting aye or nay on stuff that you probably hadn't thought about before Monday. So thank you. President Cruz Rivera, thank you again. Your team is great. We love coming here. So your words for us?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Welcome to Regents, university colleagues, and members of the public. It is an honor, as always, to host this meeting on the Flagstaff campus. It's great to have the Arizona Board of Regents here with us, and we very much appreciate your support and guidance as we seek to advance our mission. We are proud to share this setting with you, surrounded by the majesty of Northern Arizona and the energy of a thriving university community. It's also a special honor to be here today at the start of my 5th year as president of NAU. Well, I have some ways to go to catch up to the I have a ways to go to catch up to Dr. Crow, but I do know that if I make it that long, I will be able to sit alongside Will I Am and Harrison Ford and all of those great icons. So it's a real milestone for me. It's the longest I have ever been serving in a particular position and the longest time Rima and I have ever lived in the same place. So we call this home. As you all know, the reality of the presidential university president's position these days is one where time is our most precious resource, which fills me with a profound urgency to make every moment count. It fuels my aspiration to do the best job I possibly can for this university, which has truly become my home. So what I would like to do now quickly is to recognize and thank our regents for their leadership and partnership. We have advanced a bold vision for public higher ed in Arizona, one that expands access, delivers excellence, and strengthens the prosperity of our state. And I am thrilled to be able to extend a special and very warm welcome to our newest regent, Jimmy McCain. Regent McCain, we are grateful for your service and know your voice will be invaluable in the work ahead. You carry on a family legacy of service to our state, and I know firsthand your passion for public education. So I know that you will be a strong advocate and steady hand at the helm for our public university system, and that you will help champion the value, opportunity, and impact we provide to the people, communities, and the economy of the state. I look forward to partnering with you and our other regions in this most important work. Let's give our newest region a big round of applause. So briefly, I'd like to share a few points of pride about how NAU is living out its mission for Arizona. Number one, we enrolled the highest proportion of Arizona residents of any public university with initiatives like Access to Excellence, ensuring low and middle income Arizonans have tuition covered. Number two, we are tackling urgent workforce needs through NAU Health with a pledge to double graduates in physical and behavioral health fields by 2030. And number three, we continue to expand research with regional impact on wildfires, water, and community health, while inspiring record levels of philanthropic support. These are just a few examples of the distinctive approach that is earning NAU recognition across the state and the nation. This momentum, of course, would not be possible without the vision of our regents, the commitment of our colleagues at ASU and U of A, and the dedication of our faculty, staff, and community. I look forward to the important conversations ahead and to the opportunity to continue building together the future of public higher ed in Arizona. Once again, welcome to Flagstaff and Northern Arizona University. Thank you, and I yield back to the chair.
Thank you for having us. You are a marvelous and wonderful host. Before we move on to the next item, I would like to take a moment to recognize Laura Todd Johnson. Laura served as general counsel for the University of Arizona for 23 years and is retired after 23 years of distinguished service to U of A and the board. This is our first regular board meeting since Laura's retirement. So Laura is not here today, but I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Laura for her service. Hopefully in retirement, she is not spending her time watching us on YouTube. But Laura, thank you. We wish you all the best in retirement. Our next item, the board is asked to approve the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda include items 7.1 to item 7.21. Does anyone have a conflict to declare on items 7.1 to 7.21? Regent Stein.
Yes, item 7.18, please.
So Regent Stein is recusing himself from item 7.18. Thank you. We will have two motions then for the consent agenda, one for everything else and one for that particular item. So I move that the board approve items 7.1 to 7.17 and 7.19 to 7.21 as listed on the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion passes. Regent Stein is recusing himself from this next one. I move that the board approve item 7.18 as listed on the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you all. Our next item is the executive director's report. Chad, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to update the board on a number of the items that the board office, the regents themselves and the universities are collaborating on to move a higher education forward and make it stronger in the state. I do have a PowerPoint. You are all welcome. Here it is. Okay. Slide one is meant to, I'm just making sure we got the right slide there. All right. Now, at the end of my presentation, we will have a video, and I guarantee it's worth listening to this presentation to look at the video at the end. Our team is very proud of it, and they should be. It is around FAFSA and using some of our outstanding student athletes that are recognized throughout the state and indeed throughout the nation talking about FAFSA. First item. In June, we talked a lot about the things that we were able to accomplish last year under Chair Mata's leadership. You have the final version of the report that you all approved a draft of in August, and we are sending we have sent this to the governor's office and to the legislature, and it is just a reminder of the tremendous work that is done by this board and by the presidents and their teams that they hire and guide. I hope that all of you look at it. I am indeed humbled to work among such dedicated leaders, committed staff, and university presidents. They are outstanding. With that, we'll move on to the next item. I want to talk about opportunities that we're looking at in the coming year. And I want to start that by talking a little bit about a conversation which I had with a former regent as he was stepping off the board and I was stepping into the shoes of the executive director on an interim basis. And that was Bob Herbold. And Regent Herbold was stepping away, and I had just received kind of notice from the board that I would be stepping in on an interim basis. And I said, well, Regent Herbold, you've written no less than 4 books on how to manage and lead organizations. What would you say would be the most important thing I need to know? You charge thousands of dollars an hour to give this kind of advice. I'm asking for it for free. And he said, well, that's really presumptuous of you. And then he laughed. And then he said, Chad, the thing I would leave with you is make sure as you work for this board and you serve this board to keep the main thing, the main thing. And I said, thank you very much. I have no idea what that means. And what he said is, it's so easy in this type of work when you are trying to be everything to everybody to remember what your most important responsibilities are. Indeed, the charges of this board and the charges of the presidents that work before him. And that is to provide a valuable education, an excellent, he uses the word excellence a lot. And he said an excellent education, that any student that comes to us is guaranteed to come away feeling that they were in the presence of excellence. And then he said the second thing is make sure that you fight for the university so they can continue to do the good work they do both in research and for the state. And that's what he meant by that. And it is stuck with me as we go through this. And as we scale from last year's accomplishments to this year's accomplishments, I've started to talk to my team about keeping the main thing the main thing. That is, what are we here for? What is our constitutional charge? Our constitutional charge is to provide an outstanding education, to provide the workforce that Arizona needs to be successful, and to add great value to humanity and this state through the cutting edge research we do, and along the way, making Arizona a better place. And if you look to our budget ask to the governor and the legislature this year, that is exactly what this board has done. It's asked for money to advance and improve the healthcare workforce for this state. It's asking for money to drive talent development in a state that is no longer just about real estate, but is about some of the most advanced tech industries in the world. And are we producing the engineers and the accountants and just the day-to-day support staff that needs to be to support our semiconductor industry and others? And finally, fueling prosperity by doing the research around water and forestry and some of these other technical areas that allows Arizona to continue to thrive. You talk to any Arizonan, the first thing they want to talk to you about is water. We have 3 of the best water schools in the country. They all take different tacks, but they are leading edge and cutting edge in what they do. And so our ask of the governors this year is that. The next thing, we are going to double down on the growth that we have seen by leading in areas of FAFSA and access and attainment. Our FAFSA, we are the 6th fastest growing FAFSA state. That is great. Part of that is because we did so poorly before. So we are gaining ground on other states, but we were far behind. That being the case, we have found partners in everywhere from the Cactus League to the Diamondbacks to the governor's office. And indeed, our governor has made, can you see this? If you can't see it in the back, what it is a proclamation from the governor making October FAFSA month in Arizona. And it is our FAFSA team and our communication team that are driving those kind of collaborations. And we're grateful for the governor's partnership. So we are making progress. All that being said, the best thing that we've done is now, are we ready? We've done a lot of good things. We've met with 400 guidance counselors 2 weeks ago on the FAFSA challenge. They're there. We're partnering with them. We're raising awareness. We are removing barriers, as Chair Goodyear has told me. Anything we can do, we should remove that barrier. We are doing that. But in addition, as many good ideas come from our regents, Regent Pacheco said, we have our superstars, believe it or not, are not our presidents. It's not our board. It is our athletes that represent us so well. We have partnered with them to get the FAFSA message out. And that is my cue for this.
Sports preparation is everything. The same as for your future.
That's why when it comes to planning for your future,
you need to complete your FAFSA, your free application for federal student aid.
It's your first step towards money for college, trade school, or whatever comes next after high school.
Just like practice helps you win games, completing the FAFSA sets you up for success.
It's free, it's easy, and it can open doors to grants, scholarships, and work study opportunities.
Don't lose out on money for college. Score big by completing your FAFSA today.
It's good.
So I love that little video, but that's not the point. The video is to show in this meeting of the regents of the entire campaign that is being built around this. It is not a one and done video, but we are working with these individuals to make sure we're out on social media and other channels that, that are not meant for me. They are not meant for you, but are meant for the students themselves that we want to come to these great universities. With that, I will stand for questions, Chair.
Are there any questions for Chad from the board?
I just wanted to commend you and your communications team, particularly Sarah Harper. Sir, I think you've done just a great job, you and your team, on the videos and the messaging. So well done.
And more to come. Other comments or input? Chad, well done. Thank you for your report. Moving on to item 2, the board is asked to approve the president's contracts, the executive director's notice of appointment, and payment for achievement of 2024 to 2025 at-risk compensation goals. Jenny, would you please present this item?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Chair Goodyear and members of the board. The board office is asking the board to approve payment for achievement of the 2024-2025 at-risk compensation goals assigned to the presidents, the executive director, and the enterprise executive committee, and approve proposed amendments to the president's contracts and the executive director's notice of appointment as described in the executive summary. Just as some background, the board conducts annual performance reviews every year. And as a result of those reviews, the board can consider amendments to the president's contracts and consider achievement of previously assigned at-risk compensation goals. With this board action, board approval would authorize the board chair to amend and restate the contracts and notice of appointment for the presidents and the executive director, as well as authorize the chair to make any necessary technical or conforming changes to those contracts. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there questions or comments? Regent Penley?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Thanks very much, Jenny, for presenting this item. Every year, we evaluate the presidents, and we do so with these at-risk goals. We're looking always closely at the performance of the 3 presidents, and thankfully, we have 3 excellent presidents doing very different jobs with 3 very distinctively different universities. But as we move ahead, we need to make sure that we're really, and I'll go back to Regent Bob Herbold again, assuring improving the excellence of the experience for our students, improving the kind of research that we do that is so valuable to the healthcare and improvement of life in general for the public. And these at-risk goals drive our institutions through the leadership of our 3 presidents toward making those changes that are necessary to take each university and make it just a little better each year. And we have a wonderful circumstance this year where our 3 presidents have achieved all of the goals that they were assigned by the Board of Regents. I think we should celebrate the fact that we continue to focus on improvement, and approving this at-risk reward for the presidents is a way to state we're continuing to focus on the future. We know we can always be a little better, and we're driving these universities better through the great leadership of the three presidents. So I'm happy to endorse what we're about to vote on.
Chair Goodyear. Regent Brewster.
Chair Goodyear, to pick up on Regent Penley's, I had a hand in developing these goals with each of the presidents and certainly working with other regions. You come to that moment where its purpose, its process, and ultimately its payoff really requires a good working outcome with each of the presidents, their staffs, and certainly with the regions. I want to thank all involved with these, the collaboration to find those best areas for our presidents to lean in and move their universities forward towards goals that are meaningful and ultimately pay off for the state of Arizona is an incredible amount of work. I also would point out in an incredibly wild year relative to other things coming down from the federal government, other influences that come to these universities, come to these presidents and their staff to keep their eye on the ball, to look at those things that truly matter, and at the same time, dribble another ball in their other hand to make sure that the universities don't miss any opportunity or deal with any situation. Again, is a testament to these three leaders of our universities. I could be no more proud individually on how they work to make sure that the Board of Regents, the goals that we set forward are worked, they're updated, and at the end of the day, they are fairly looked at for outcomes, not just energy and engagement, but true outcomes. They all are to be commended. My last point would be, even though these goals, for the most part, are individual and again, university specific, the amount of collaboration, Chair, as you know, that goes on between these three, and I'll throw to President Garamella to come in new and to be a player and a seat, a leader at the table, to work with these three presidents has been a real gift for me. And I think the state of Arizona, I can't say it enough times, is the true winner, because these three universities do collaborate. They do stay in their lanes of excellence, but they do collaborate. And I'm very happy to see at the end of this process the right amount of compensation, the right amount of focus being delivered. So Jenny, thanks for the update.
Are there other comments from anyone on the board? Just an observation from me. For me, this is my fourth year on the board, and every year this is one of the happier votes that I cast. I am unbelievably proud of our universities and the individuals who lead them. We have three of the best university presidents in the country. I'll stack our three up against anybody else from any other state in the country. And our schools are in good hands. Our leaders care deeply about the institutions that they lead. They are very capable and competent administrators, and we are fortunate to have them. So for me, this is one of the happier yes votes I get to cast each year. Should I say something about the executive director? Please. So it's not just about the presidents, it's about the ED, and Chad has performed marvelously. He had big shoes to fill when John Arnold left and headed south. And Chad stepped up first as the interim and did such a marvelous job that we made him the permanent. And it is a joy working with you every day. Turns out, Cecilia or Regent Mata, I'm learning how time consuming this is and how much time I spend with the executive director. And I know how much time you did. And Chad is a joy to work with and has done a marvelous, marvelous job. Regent Mata.
Thank you. I needed to unmute. Well, last fiscal year was a very challenging year in general for Executive Director Chad Sampson, and also having a new president for U of A, and continue some good things happening at ASU and NAU. I just feel very encouraged and proud that our three presidents are the best, that we have worked together, and we pull everything and out there at risk assignment has been accomplished with everything that has been happening. So I just wanted to say those words, even in the virtual scenario. And I, same as you, and now that you know how much time it takes to be the chair, I will say that, you know, we have also an amazing staff at A-Board and amazing staff at the University of Arizona, ASU, and NAU. It's a team, it's an army that we need to put together to make it happen. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Mata.
If I
Regent
may,
Brewster?
one more. Jenny, I'd like to thank you and your council, specifically having now done this process for 2 years as a regent, working with you and your team to make sure that we do this the right way, really examine all things. It is a combined effort, but I would be remiss not to just say thank you for your guidance. It is needed and it is wanted, and you're a big part of how we put these things together and deliver. So to you specifically, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Brewster. With that, I move that the board approve payment for achievement of the 2024-2025 annual at-risk compensation goals assigned to the presidents, the executive director, and the enterprise executive committee. Approve proposed amendments to the president's contracts and the notice of appointment for the executive director, and authorize the board chair to amend and restate the contracts for the presidents and the notice of appointment for the executive director, all as described in the executive summary, including attachments, and make any necessary technical or conforming changes. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
The motion carries. On to the next subject. Our next item is collegiate athletic landscape. Executive Director Sampson, will you lead this discussion, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just by way of introducing our consultant, we have our athletic directors here as well to participate in the discussion. But to talk about WME and Mike specifically, about a little over a year ago, our staff was tasked with finding support and decision support and help and insight for this board in the changing landscapes of college athletics. That is something that is difficult to find. You must find somebody who is able to work well with our regents, that our athletic directors and our presidents can respect, and has a gravitas in the field. We put feelers out for a number of different agencies and a number of different groups, and got frankly, some good responses. I will tell you, Mike and WME rose to the top. And since our team has gotten to know Mike, we find him very insightful, easy to collaborate with, easy to work with, and good to be able to explain complex subjects to me and others that don't deal in collegiate athletics every day. So we look forward to hearing what he has to say and the broad landscape he's going to provide for this board and to our athletic directors as they contribute in the discussion.
Great.
I had more to say, but that's when I thought Mike was going to be here in person. So Mike, take it away online.
Well, I'm going to use this recording for my review at the end of the year. So thank you. But good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Special thank you to the board and all the athletic directors. It's been great getting to know you all and working alongside you. I wanted to open up with some of the, I guess, key thematics across the landscape as it pertains to athletics. It's clear athletics has been and continues to be a front door, and to be clear, it's not the only front door, but certainly a key and integral one in the process. It's a way to unify, galvanize, ignite, mobilize, and operationalize efforts, across your ecosystems for the benefit and betterment of the overall system. It provides a platform for marketing on a national scale through linear and digital channels. It provides an enormous engagement platform, both in real life and across social and digital touch points, all things that can impact and influence your brand positioning, your brand value proposition, enrollment, philanthropy, and just, overall revenue itself. And speaking of revenue, obviously it costs money to make money, and we've all seen that play out over the course of the last few years publicly. And sort of what does that mean across the landscape? That means revenue creation and maximization has come to the forefront outside of the traditional media and sponsorship channels, both of which also have evolved over the course of time there. I think what's risen to the top really is that brand and tone, voice, positioning, differentiation all matter more than ever before in today's environment, because people buy and consume brands. And at the heart of it, the university brands are about education. However, their sports brands also provide, a significant platform to drive differentiation and persona. They fuel that camaraderie and connectivity, ultimately fueling all the verticals that I discussed earlier before. So the programs, sort of articulate that athletic brand in a tone and voice that can be connected but nuanced to the core overall brand. And I think it's an avenue and a vehicle, to step out and really drive engagement in a differentiated way. And I think that's the key point of difference. The brand then can be commercialized and communicated across verticals. And I think that's happening more prominently than ever. And that's sort of what we've been working on with each of the schools. To give it a little more clarity and perspective, things like licensing and merchandising, and merchandising collaborations, or the opportunity to have your own private label brands, those are monetization and brand building vehicles that have existed in the pro space for quite some time, but are now sort of taking a larger position in the collegiate space. I think social and digital channels, traditional owned and operated channels that the schools and universities have, but also you're now seeing these, what I'll call creator networks, that some of the schools are doing, operationalizing all of the athletes and talent for the monetization, not only for the athlete, but also for the university. Speaking of content more generally, that's another key vertical, documentaries or long form or YouTube content. Schools and their programs have a story to tell, and people want to listen, live it, engage it, and be a part of it. And that becomes not only a marketing vehicle, but a monetization vehicle that you're seeing across the landscape. I'd say experiential, and I'll bucket within that the in-venue experience, including all things, even food and beverage. I think the at-home, in-stadium engagement, Arizona State does a great job of that, right? As an example, with their game presentation and vehicles for stickiness that have longevity. U of A, and I know ASU has it as well, their field suites, and just a differentiated experience to elevate engagement with a variety of different, constituents that come to games, even on the road. I know U of A does their caravan as an example to engage people in other markets. So all of these are vehicles and opportunities to drive that engagement and ultimately drive, monetization. And, lastly, but not last on purpose, is sponsorship. Again, that's been around a long time, but I think has very much evolved over the last couple of years. It's really about platform selling and use of IP to drive, differentiation in the marketplace. We work with and consult with a lot of different brands, and the main vehicle or mechanism, for partnership for them is you have access to a very sticky consumer base that associates with your IP. They want to leverage that and be able to utilize that. So I think the storytelling, the narratives, the partnerships that you can integrate your IP against are what's fueling what you're seeing in the marketplace. So I'd say the model's changed, the business continues to evolve, and the universities are evolving and have to continue to evolve with it. It's definitely brand led. It's driven by creativity, and it's monetized through consumption and giving people more to consume. And that's compelling, that's creative. And from a brand they love, that's going to really fuel the engagement and then monetization that can take place across a variety of different forms, which may be enrollment, which may be philanthropy, which may be through sponsorship. So the The last note I would give is the importance of data and analytics, in today's environment. Everything is really centered around that, and how you can mobilize the data that you have, both in your alumni database, your athletic database, or even the consumer information that you're getting as a throughput at your venues. How you can use that internally and externally to drive both engagement and monetization is a critical piece. And, investing in those spaces is something we're seeing across the board. So I want to just give a couple, high level areas of example of things that are happening across the landscape, and, happy to open it up from there.
So Mike, if I could, if you could dive a little bit deeper for this board, and then we can have the athletic directors also comment a little bit more about, you use the word vertical integration, and you've been using that with us at the board office for a while, and really what that means for the changes in university athletics.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be telling a connected and cohesive story that goes across all of your platforms. Very similar to any other brand that exists, right? If you think about how brands you drive brand love, it's through a connected story that happens across all of your channels. And then you can transact across all of those channels. So the consistency, like I see it a lot on the social media side of things, having a conjoined social media effort and not a disparate effort across different handles drives and funnels engagement to centralized locations. There can be a few of them, but centralized locations that have a very similar tone and voice, but nuanced to the audience that you're reaching. And then how do you take that, galvanize that, market it, and monetize it on the back end?
If Chair, if you're okay, we'd love to have the.
Let's have the athletic directors. We'll start with the folks on the screen. Desiree?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Thank you, Mike. WME is an incredible resource. They're a team of world-class entertainment business experts, and we are so fortunate to draw on their expertise. In athletics, our mission is clear. We have to create that environment for our coaches, our student athletes to win championships, to graduate leaders, and to galvanize our community. As Mike shared, college athletics is in the midst of a transformative change. The landscape is evolving rapidly, and every institution has a choice. You can adapt and thrive, or you can stay stagnant and fall behind. We've chosen to adapt. And whether it is through our 501c3 Arizona Sports Enterprises, whether it's embracing new revenue and community building opportunities like Mike referenced, correcting budget deficits, or leaning fully into revenue share, these are steps that help fuel our overall momentum. And while we continue to lend our voice in shaping the national conversation, our primary focus remains the same. We have to ensure Arizona stays elite. Our Bear Down blueprint laid out that foundation on the business front. And one important piece that we're going to work with, that WME has really been fantastic to work with. And in the months ahead, we look forward to continuing to explore their expertise and really tapping into that. And Mike mentioned it, but the branding piece, expanding our national and our global athletics brand, the licensing piece, we need to unlock new ways to bring our identity into the marketplace. And then that analytics piece, I'm really looking forward to partnering with WME and seeing how we can use data to drive smarter decisions and new revenue growth. So again, thank you for the opportunity. This has been a great partnership, and we look forward to working hard and making you all proud.
Thank you, Desiree. Graham?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to the board for giving us the chance to connect with the group today. Thank you to Mike and WME for plugging in over the last year plus. And I'll echo a lot of the same sentiment that you've heard from Mike and Desiree. And we look at our environment in two very specific ways. The first being that we are a talent development organization. We want to win. We want to win at the highest level. But at the end of the day, we have 600 plus athletes from over 40 countries that are choosing us. And we've got a responsibility to prepare them to be productive and responsible adults entering society. And we're doing that by resourcing our coaches at a higher level, building this fan affinity that's allowing us to invest these resources back into all of our programs. And part of our evolution as an athletic department has been designed around a cohesive unit. So Mike talked about the vertical integration. We talk a lot about, in the past, we may have operated more like independent contractors within the department, 26 sports operating independent of one another, and then really focused a lot of dedicated energy and attention on operating as one department and emotionally connecting people to Arizona State University through all of our athletic programs over the course of the year. And we're lucky to be in this state where we've had incredible population growth. We have a lot of people that are choosing Arizona. They're looking for something to connect with. And we want our sports programs to be these incredible connection points to build the brand of the university, to build the brand of the state, and connect more and more people in a unique environment. We've been on the road twice this year at universities that have declining enrollment. We look at our opportunity at ASU and with Sun Devil Athletics to be a tremendous point of pride and, more importantly, a tremendous tool for driving more enrollment to ASU and then focusing on retention of the student experience. And so we're looking to collaborate across the entire year. It's creating more inventory. Mike alluded to the field level loge boxes that we created. We sold those out immediately as part of a pilot program. So we're looking at ways to expand upon that footprint as we move forward. We've been contemplating renovations to our basketball arena where we'll be looking at additional amenities and seating areas just to differentiate our product. We've had a lot of the same over the year. And so as Mike discussed, the tendencies of sports fans and how people use their discretionary income is changing and evolving. We want to be in front of that movement and provide unique ways to enjoy a game day on campus, consume content, and really use these 600 athletes from all over the world as brand ambassadors and these incredible success stories that we can illuminate over the course of our events and our stadiums and arenas and through the content that we're now able to create. We've got tremendous momentum commercially. We renewed 98% of our football season ticket holders. 80 to 85% would be aspirational for most sports teams. We paired that with 8,000 new season tickets sold. We've sold out our first 2 games of the season so far, which is not typical for hot non-conference games early in the season. We're seeing that momentum extend into our other sports as we near the start of hockey season next weekend against Penn State. We have a top 15 ranked hockey program competing against a top 5 Penn State program in front of sellout crowds at Mullet Arena. And so we're using all 26 sports as this conduit and cross-promoting one another and building value for our corporate partners, building value for our donors and our season ticket holders across the entire year, 250 plus live events that we produce, not just single sports at single times of the year. And so, as Desiree mentioned, we're evolving, we're adapting, we're staying in front of the movement in our space by obsessing over the people who obsess over us. It's really a simple philosophy, but taking a customer service mindset, taking a value add mindset, looking at different ways to improve the touch points and the footprint of a game day is what we're hard at work every single day to do, obviously in support of our coaches who lead our athletes as we try to be this incredible brand extension for Arizona State University.
Thank you, Graham. In the room, we have Yuri Farkas. Yuri, the NAU perspective here.
I'd also like to thank Desiree and Graham for a very warm welcome when it was announced that I would be serving in this role. Thank you both for reaching out. Looking forward to a very productive relationship over the years. And Graham, we were very happy to help you fill that stadium during game 1. At Northern Arizona University, we have 3 pillars, and we want to graduate our student athletes, we want to compete for championships, and we want to do that while being fiscally responsible. Having Mike and WME team on campus helped in all 3 of those areas. Following their visit, what we received is sort of a to-do list, and we've been tackling those one at a time. The areas that we've been able to grow, premium seating. Mike did a great job and said in the Sky Dome, you've got to create pockets, separate pockets of folks who want to pay a little extra to come see the Lumberjacks. And so happy to report we've been successful in that area. We've been very creative with our naming rights to create new revenue streams that were unseen before. We're at 98% capacity this football season in the Sky Dome. So ticket sales has been another revenue generator for us and something we have a keen eye on, keeping things very affordable in the Flagstaff community while also maximizing those premium spaces. We continue to look at merchandise sales It's an area that we have underperformed in over the years. And thanks to the help of the university, we have new brand opportunities that will be available for all of our fans. I'm excited to take this journey with Mike and colleagues at U of A and ASU, and looking forward to where we go from here. So thank you all very much for having me today.
Thank you, Yuri. Those are all great comments and great presentations. Do we have questions for either Mike or for any of our athletic directors from members of our board? Yes, Regent Stein.
Yeah, first to all three programs, congratulations for a very successful year. I guess my question to Mike is, and maybe Graham talked about this a little bit, is how do you drive engagement to sports other than football and basketball?
I mean, in my opinion, it's the same approach and philosophy. People that are following and supporting, the university, you have a lot of these sports. Volleyball is probably a good example, or softball, that yes, they've been around for a long time, but there's a lot of energy around those sports, and you're seeing it across social engagement. You're seeing it on campus, obviously, when you're going to games, and even following the media. I mean, the media is starting to pick up a lot of these other sports and driving that engagement, for everybody. So, I think it's really, to Graham's point about how you interconnect all the programs that sit underneath the umbrella and trade off the equity that each of the others have to again drive that fan engagement and cross-channel engagement.
Any input from our athletic directors on that?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Regent.
Thank you, Regent Stein. And I'm sorry, Graham, were you going to jump in?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Cross promotion has been key. The halo effect is real. One thing that you saw with, for example, our women's basketball coach, Becky Burke, she went out and she is incredibly fit and loves to work out, and decided that she wanted to go and promote the triathlon program. And so she competed against our national champion triathlon team. And you know what? That social media engagement was so incredible. And we're really proud of the fact that we lead the Big 12 in social media engagement, and those kinds of interesting, creative ways of cross-promoting, whether it's our women's soccer team going and doing a kicking contest against our football program, or our men's basketball program, all going out and supporting our tennis programs. We find that there's something so incredibly special about connecting those two and leveraging the power of the whole. We talk about one Arizona here, and that's just an example so that we can connect with our fans and really get that emotional resonance.
Graham?
Yeah, and I would add two schools of thought for us. One is that our student and our on-campus enrollment is such an asset for us, and pushing those students to sports where they can connect. As I mentioned, we have athletes from over 40 countries within our 26 programs. We have a very international enrollment here at ASU, and so sports like soccer, volleyball, lacrosse, to name a few, we've pushed very high avidity for our students who live on the Tempe campus, and even have transportation options for students at the other ASU campuses to get to Tempe with regularity to support a sport that they may align with. And we've also seen that same benefit in how we promote, how we market. We're focused generally on affordability. That's a really important concept, that we're driving volume throughout all of our events. We're not trying to maximize ticket yield on a per event basis. We want to be aggressive with how we price, but we want to maintain affordability for tickets, concessions, merchandise, et cetera. But the benefit of 26 Sports, again, is that wherever you're from and whatever you're into, we have it. And I mentioned cross promotion, but there's also a real benefit of having soccer matches getting the fall semester underway. And that's a very affordable opportunity for a family to come in, connect with ASU, find something that they want to align with. And then as we cross promote, make that connection to basketball season's right around the corner. We're in football season. We have baseball and softball coming up in the spring. And just the benefit of that awareness as we operate as one brand with 26 Sports, not 26 independent sports with their own marketing philosophies and unique program cultures. But I really think it's important that we activate our events and our sports around the student population on campus. We know that athletics is an incredible tool for student retention, particularly with first-year students. And so getting our head coaches involved in a fall welcome, getting them out and about with our echo from the Buttes as Coach Miller did early in the season, and just making our coaches and their personalities attainable to the students around this campus and making an effort to build those connection points and those relationships. And it's led to great results. We set a record at soccer last week as we beat number 10 BYU. It was a record crowd for soccer. We had those examples last year in volleyball and lacrosse and a lot of our Olympic sports where we're heavily focused on bringing students into these spaces.
And, just to follow up on Graham's point, students bring energy. Energy attracts energy. We also find we know our student athletes are some of our best ambassadors. Our student athletes designate one game per season as our code red game. And that's where the commitment that all of our student athletes go and they support one another. We also leverage some of our other sports in terms of men's basketball or football. And if, for example, at the Auburn game, we do a point system. The Auburn game is in December this year for men's basketball. If you go to our Olympic sports games, then you accrue points, and that gives you a higher priority so that you can go into our Auburn game. So the students, and if you got to know Arizona Zoo, like we're having a zoology event with men's basketball in a couple of weeks, and we're going to kind of go over the chants, and just Tommy's going to speak with them. They're going to get to know our men's basketball program. And like, we've said before, we're in the memory making business, and students want to be a part of something special. We only get them for 4 years, and they're the best part of what we do. So didn't mean to interrupt, Graham.
Yuri, I'll be very brief. Thank you, Regent Stein. I'm going to flip this on you a little bit. We have led the league in attendance in soccer and volleyball. We needed to put more effort into football. With the help of President Cruz Rivera, investing in a championship level coach, getting those wins behind us, investing in that, providing more opportunities for our student body. We're now looking at a massive increase in ticket sales and the involvement of our students with a sold out student tailgate lot and sold out reservations for tailgates. So we've had to sort of take a little bit of a different approach than the other two and begin to drive more to football, as we know that a rising tide will lift all boats, and that's our greatest opportunity for increased revenue.
Other questions from Regents? Regent Brewster?
Not so much, Chair Goodyear, not so much a question, but certainly I want to call out to the audience that we have 3 incredible, lightly tenured athletic directors. And again, I couldn't be more proud of all 3 of you for stepping up into a role. And as we talked about, Chair, I think it was you that said we couldn't be any prouder. We'll put our 3 presidents up against any presidents that are out there. I would put these 3 athletic directors up against just about anybody, with maybe Desiree being tenured at 1.5 years in her role at U of A. All 3 have stepped up, and Mike, you've been incredible to work with. The Regents have enjoyed your engagement, and so far the feedback that we've heard from our athletic directors has been stellar on what you've done. But I will look at all 3 of you and again say, great level of collaboration as athletic directors supporting the state, great levels of engagement at your universities, taking you from here to here. And I can honestly say, on point for the Regents, the sky's the limit here in Arizona for our 3 athletic departments. I couldn't be any happier about the successes we've had, but I will tell you, I think there's more to come. And these 3 have been incredible leaders in a very short amount of time.
Thank you, Regent Brewster. Any other comments on the sports front, the athletics front? All right, seeing none. Mike, thank you for your time. Desiree, Graham, Yuri, thank you for making time for us as well. We'll proceed to the next item on the agenda.
Thank you all.
So the next item is campus safety and well-being. And I'd like to turn it over to Brad Kendricks from the ABOR office to introduce the issue.
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Good afternoon, everybody. So campus safety is foundational to the mission of the universities. Every student and family deserves to know, especially as we're heading into a new academic year, that our campuses are safe places to live, to work, to learn. We also know from recent headlines from around the country, as well as in our own communities, that we can never take safety for granted. So with tens of thousands of students, faculty, and staff on campuses, and the universities acting as major community hubs and gathering places, it becomes the scale of those responsibilities become quite large. The challenge at the university level is to lean into that commitment to do everything we can in order to keep a safe environment, while also embracing the openness and vibrancy that the campuses represent and what we're trying to be for our communities. So we planned a discussion today for the board, not about responding to any particular incident. It's about affirming the fact that safety must remain a sustained focus of the board and for the universities. So rather than hearing formal presentations, we want to begin a dialogue with our university teams. And with your permission, I'd like to invite any other university safety and student support reps to come forward. But to talk about how the universities integrate student support, emergency preparedness, community partnerships together in ways that try to address some of this uncertainty. The aim is to help provide better understanding for the board and to help guide future conversations about what the board should be considering on this front, as this continues to remain something super important for everybody here. So that said, having been joined by this auspicious team, I would actually like to turn the floor over, again with your permission, Chair, to our student regents, Regent Garcia and Regent Fisher, to share any perspectives that they might have on this matter as current students of our universities, and to kind of kick off the discussion with our team.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this time and opportunity, and just for your commitment to student safety. All of you here are obviously very integral to that, as well as I know that the board takes a large investment in student safety. What I've experienced as a student and kind of like the greatest fear that I hear from students in this space is fear of like gun violence on college campuses. When we turn it back over to you guys, I'd be interested to hear you speak on that and what's being done to keep students safe, because I know that there are things in place, but students may not know about it.
I'll start. Got me? Yeah. Steve Patterson, Chief Safety Officer at the University of Arizona. I think a lot of when it comes to criminal activity on campuses, a lot of it starts with creating an awareness with the community. Having the resources for the members of the community and knowing what we have available. Not only, the simple answer is, okay, you see something, you call 911, but the mental health resources, the threat assessment teams that are available, and to have that open discussion. You as somebody who has been in the world of law enforcement for 28, 29 years, walking into a campus that we all have open campuses, right? And it's always a challenge for us to continue to have that open campus and allow our community members to be able to walk around campus in the morning. And but at the same time, our number one priority is to see our students succeed. And so really making sure that we're keeping those dialogues open. Where areas that we need to lock doors, we lock doors. Certainly technology is a vital point of that. Certainly law enforcement officers in areas is important, but empowering members of the community to know, what to look for and where to be and where not to be through our notification systems, through our various different applications that we have, engagement with our student affairs folks, dean of students, so our students know where to go and where not to go.
And if I'd add, you had mentioned that there's a lot going on that maybe folks aren't aware of. And I think part of that for us, especially up here in Flagstaff, is the larger community relationships that we maintain with other public safety entities in our community. As mentioned, some of the issues we see are university focused, but at the same time, they're community focused. And we don't have the walls up around campus, and we have to have those relationships to know what's going on in our larger community, to know what may be coming into our community and vice versa. So maintaining those relationships, I think, is very important. Up here, we share radio systems, we share CAD, computer aided dispatch and record system. So we have full sight of what is happening across the street from us. And so I think having that larger awareness is something that maybe others aren't aware that is something that's done on a daily basis.
Hello, John Thompson, Chief of Police at Arizona State University, and I'll echo those sentiments. We focus a lot on teams, both with the local jurisdictions that surround our different campuses, as well as that interoperability. We train together, we have conversations with one another. And then internally, the relationship through the dean's office, through the different threat assessment type management teams that we have to look at, issues that students may be experiencing, as well as faculty, staff, looking into those things to be more proactive. And then I also echo the part or the sentiments or the comments earlier of utilizing technology to help expand our capabilities without necessarily having to have a uniformed officer on every corner across campus, right? So using those technologies allows us to kind of keep an eye on things, areas that could potentially, problematic. And a lot of times it's not so much violence, but even just things like bike theft, things like that are important to students, right? It allows us to keep an eye on those areas, bike racks, things like that. So.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that you have experience at the U of A with effective measures, so I'll pass to you.
Chair, if I may.
Yes,
Thank
proceed.
you. First, I appreciate the board's leadership on this matter, and I do look forward to this continued focus. It's an important conversation to have, and I do appreciate it. First, though, I want to give a shout out to the U of A for their remarkable safety app that just launched earlier this year. Some of the features are really tangible examples of a university meeting its students where they are. If you want to learn more about the features, I'm sure you can find out about them online. I'm very happy to have downloaded the app on my phone. My question for everyone is, how are you working with students to share and develop resources?
I'll start and say, Regent Garcia, thanks for the kind words, and yeah, download SafeCats app. I know online is our vice president for student affairs. She probably is going to be the best one to discuss about the student engagement on that from the university perspective. Amanda, you there? Maybe she's not. I was under the impression she was. We recently reconfigured student affairs, and really with the focus of making sure all under one roof is all the student related benefits that are out there. Counseling, psychological services, safety connections, dean of students, housing, all under the same roof. We have been very proactive in the engagement between the police department and our CAPS program. And we recently, about 8 months ago, started our crisis mobile team. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's similar to a co-responder program that a lot of the local law enforcement officers have or agencies have, in which if we have a student who is potentially in a mental health crisis, we have a counselor and a UAPD officer also respond. And once the officer determines that the scene is safe, then again, the counselor steps in and starts taking over and to really help our students. And again, because our overall, one of our strategic imperatives is the North Star is to see our students succeed. So really that's our main focus, is making sure our students succeed.
Chair Goodyear, Regent Garcia, I'm Joanne Vogel, Vice President of Student Services at Arizona State University, and I appreciate very much your question. And I know out here with us today, we have several members of our Associated Students of ASU. And as part of the annual priorities that they've given to us, they have put campus safety and security on that list. Everything from, and I know Chief Thompson could probably speak more to these, but campus safety walks to look through physical safety. We too have a Live Safe app that we rely upon them to do a lot of the advertising around and to make sure that students know they can get a safety escort through that app, whether virtual or with someone from the police. Another thing to mention is, in addition to a lot of the physical safety that we have around campus, is also the notion of the psychological safety that I hear coming up as well. And so we too have many different ways that our students can plug into any part of our system 24/7, 365, everything from low level issues that might be troublesome to them all the way through an imminent crisis situation. So the response and the community partnerships we have with Impact and others to assist in crisis. So it really runs the full spectrum of support. And so I appreciate too, all of this, that we're working closely with the elected student leadership to help us understand what more they would like to see from us.
And I could add a little bit from Northern Arizona University, Chair Goodyear, Margot Saltonstall from Student Affairs. In addition to a lot of the proactive tools and things that we have, I think to answer your question, Regent Garcia, about how we're involving students, I think what we're really trying to do is show up and listen, right? And understand what does it mean to be safe and unpack what that means, both psychologically and in terms of physical safety. We do that in a variety of ways. We survey on a number of things around belonging and on physical safety, where students have a chance to tell us where they feel safe and where they don't. The walks that Dr. Vogel mentioned, we're doing those safety walks on our campus as well. We're sitting down with students after particular kinds of things happen on campus and debriefing. Chief Freshour led a debrief on our campus after the swatting incident. And then I also think we're learning a lot through our care teams. So our care teams are receiving all kinds of referrals from very small, low-level things to very impactful things for students around safety. And we have the chance to learn from those teams about what they're hearing from students and what kinds of experience might be proactive, preventative, supportive measures that we can do on the front end. So a couple of things to add there.
Regent Pacheco.
So as a parent, I have a student at the U of A and a student at ASU, and Chad has a student here at NAU. One of the things I really want to commend all of you on is how clear your communication is and how consistent it is. I really, I think you've really, this is a serious issue. It's one that we will continually be revisiting, as we have over the last several years. And the focus on student communication around being safe, and then the tools that are available, right? These apps are really cool, has really been notable. And you don't necessarily see that on other campuses in other states. You really have just done a phenomenal job of meeting the student where they're at and giving them as much information as they can probably take in and handle. So thank you for that.
So I have a question, and this may not be a good observation, but it's mine. So So I've lived in a lot of places over the course of my life, and I've been in Arizona for 27 years now, and it seems different here than in other places. And some of this may be testament to the good job that you all do hosting events. But this is different than other states in that every time it seems like there's a public event, the rallying cry is, well, let's go do something at the university. Whether it's an election or a rally or a protest or some other ceremony. And in other states that I have lived, people go to the town hall or to the state capitol or to the town square. And for whatever reason, people here seem to just say, well, let's do it at the university. They know how to put on big events. And I imagine that's expensive. And I imagine that that is also somewhat problematic in that, in my view, the universities exist to serve the students and the faculty who are doing research there, and ultimately the state of Arizona and the greater good. But it seems to me that with an awful lot of your events, our universities are becoming magnets for people who are not associated with campus at all. That you can have an event and 50, 60, 70% of the people have nothing to do with the university. And yet we're supposed to host the event, pick up the cost, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not sure if there's a question in here. But is my observation right? And does it cause you any problems?
I will say yes here to both. I think at least up here, obviously, there's a lot less meeting spaces that can hold larger groups of folks. And they might be a little bit different in Tucson and Phoenix area. So we do have that draw here. And in regards to, does it impact us? Absolutely. We can't ignore an event on campus and what potential safety risks it may or may not bring with it. So we have that obligation to respond. But especially for me, I'm the smallest of the 3 police departments here, and we do the best we can with what we have. And we rely on our partners to fill those gaps with us, but it is a draw on our resources. I feel very confident when we have one event for one period of time, we can all pull together and we're successful. I worry about things that get drawn out or long-term events that might go from, a couple years ago, from a couple days to a week long, and things of that nature would really be a draw on resources that not only for my department, but for all the other resources in our area, to include medical personnel, fire departments, and the other law enforcement and first responders in the area. So it's definitely something at the forefront of my mind in regards to what is my strategic plan moving forward to keep these things basically that we can keep addressing them in a safe manner. And what do we need to do that? And I think technology was something mentioned earlier, and definitely we need to keep exploring that and what that technology can offset on the personnel end of things.
So Chairman,
Go ahead.
all of your observations are right on point in terms of our experience. We sometimes refer to our place in this today as a bully pulpit position. Everybody seems to kind of gravitate to our university campuses to talk about whatever issue is important to them, and of course many times not everyone agrees. So we know as we prepare for those that everything that we do, everything that we don't do, and how we do it, and as you've seen recently, who pays for the cost of all of those things gets evaluated. And I think the key thing from our perspective is that we need to have a plan and be trained and prepare for that reality. And so that's a fundamental part of how we try to handle these events as well and as safely as we possibly can, protect people's constitutional rights and of course, public safety.
Chair, first, if you're indirectly saying you need to supplement our funding, the answer is yes.
Well, that actually isn't what I have in mind.
Maybe I was reading a little bit too much into the statement. I would say University of Arizona, City of Tucson is probably the biggest small town there is. University of Arizona is the central hub of Tucson. So inevitably, events occurring in Tucson seem to have they end up inevitably on the mall. For us in the Office of Public Safety, our biggest concern is we, I believe, through our engagement and collaboration, have a pretty good handle on events, day-to-day events going on campus. The challenge we have is when, as you said, outside people come onto campus and there's additional security concerns there that we don't necessarily know about. And that's where the partnership with the city, the state, the feds come into play, where when we have people who come onto our campus to speak, to present, to play, to do whatever it is they do, we need to have that open dialogue with our partners in the state, the feds, to say, okay, is this person, not only are they bringing an entertainment value to the university and the city, but also are we making sure that we're aware of any potential security risks that are associated with them? Is it something that is concerning? Sure, it absolutely is. I think that's where keeping those open dialogues, having those relationships. This group here, I mean, we were all in this when it comes to safety with our students in our community. We're all in this together. There's zero competition on this side. We all want to see everybody succeed. I know in speaking for Chief Olson with UAPD, he is in contact with the chiefs here at the table with NAU and ASU all the time. We're comparing notes. Inevitably, we have events that start here here in maybe Flagstaff and then start heading south down I-17, end up going to ASU, come to Tucson. So working together to make sure that we're all aware of the potential risks.
President Crow.
I would just add that the region should keep in mind at all times that the 3 universities in Arizona are among the most open, most free speech protective of any universities in the entire country. And what that means then is that we're also the pawn and the manipulative tool of groups who purposefully plan their events for our campuses to attract people other than the folks that are at the university as a mechanism of gaining national attention for whatever their case is. And so we've gone to some additional links to make steps to make certain that, you know, if we think a group is being manipulative in some way, perhaps that event might be constrained to students or students and staff and faculty, because as you said, Chair, the university exists for the university. It's not a public park. It's not the town square. And so this is something that often, I'll just remind the regents, we had anti-Semitic messaging put onto a bathroom a mirror and wall several years ago, in which someone took a picture, sent it to a local genius group of media people at the Arizona Republic and said, I took a picture of this terrible message on this bathroom wall. Well, of course you took a picture of it because that person put it there. And so the notion of something happening at the university, and that person was, by the way, paid to put it there by another group attempting to disrupt the general discourse of public discussions in the United States. I kid you not in that. And so in the case of the Israeli-Palestinian demonstrations that we had in April of 2024, 72 people were arrested when the encampments were taken down, and 52 of those people were not students. Yet everything that happened there, people thought that was a student. That was a student. That's ASU. That must be ASU. That's something going on at ASU. And as the chief and as Morgan knows, you know, when we began to move towards the closure of that event, the thing that we were most worried about were other groups that were coming to that event who were armed, who were not going to allow us to maintain safety. And so it is the case that because we're so open, we are also played.
Chair.
Regent Brewster.
I appreciate through earlier discussions with all of you, the focus on safety and certainly the unification of all the local state resources. And I'm very comfortable and proud that coalition of all law enforcement is working together, whether it's Flagstaff, Tucson, or Phoenix. If you could comment federally, there are so many other layers of federal law enforcement support. I think it'd be good in this public forum to hear what you do tap in. You just talked about the feds. Well, there are lots of feds law enforcement. And again, how are they assisting or not the mission of each of our 3 universities' safety, campus safety?
I would give the example of our swatting incident on the first day of class. I think the second phone call I got was from our local FBI resident agent in charge, asking what he could do to assist us, because I have that relationship with him. In regards to who showed up that day, I had DEA agents and Homeland Security agents that work in Flagstaff show up. Flagstaff's unique because we don't have all the federal agencies up here, but the ones that we do are usually embedded in task force with our local police departments. And so they were here. They were some of the first people willing to be on this campus to address a potential threat with us. So we do have those communications in place. And generally, once a month, once every other month, we do have a meeting of the local executive officers at the federal as well as the local law enforcement agencies get together. And I think that harbors our relationships and keeps them strong. I know that I can rely on them to be here. I think the other end of that is partnership is 2 ways, and we have to be there for Flagstaff when they need us as well, if we're going to expect Flagstaff to go there. So for me, that's the heart of What I see my role is maintaining those relationships so that the folks that are the first responders know they can rely on each other because we have that set in place from the get-go.
Thank you.
Regent Penley, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Chair Goodyear. This whole conversation reminds me of an effort that this board and the three universities have been engaged in for a long time, and that is the issue of free speech. And free speech is not free. That's why we're willing to spend the resources that we spend to assure not only people on our campuses, but the public who intervene on our campuses have the right to free speech. This board and the three universities have made receiving a green light from FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, a big deal. And all three universities have a green light, which is testimony to the effort that you, the security folks, as well as our universities in general, put to make sure that free expression exists on these campuses. Something that ought to be a part of every academic institution, but we've made it very important here. We celebrate the fact that Arizona remains, if not the only state, maybe one other, has all of its universities, its public universities, with a green FIRE rating. I hope we don't lose that. We don't intend to. But your role as the security folks and student affairs, as you promote students and, yes, the public, because of what Chair Goodyear said, their ability to come on our campuses and speak freely. We celebrate something that is very much a part of academia, that is dear to us in this country. So thank you for all that you do to make free speech, if not free, still available. Thank you.
Brad, we are pushing the limits of our allotted time. Is there do we give Regent Penley the final word on all this? Oh, Regent McCain.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say one thing as a parent. All of you expressed two things that are incredibly important and all we can really ask of you. It's communication and the fact that you're proactive about the threat. That's really all we can ask from law enforcement. Your communication to students and parents as a parent, and also that you're being proactive about the problems that you're seeing on campuses and campuses across the United States. That's really all we can ask. And I wanted to say thank you for that. That's when you were speaking, that came through loud and clear. So thank you.
Does Regent McCain have the final word? I think he does. Thank you for coming and speaking with us, and thank you for the good work that you do every day. And campus safety is a top concern for students and for parents and for us. And you do a marvelous job every day of keeping our students as safe as they can possibly be. So thank you for what you do. All right. The next item is the board is being asked to approve the revocation of the charter for the Strategic Initiatives and Planning Committee and related revisions to ABOR Policy 1-206, Strategic Planning. This is the first reading. Brad, would you present this item?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Regents. So the Strategic Initiatives and Planning Committee was set up about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, by the regents as a vehicle for having structured conversations about kind of short-term, mid-term strategic issues, things that would be important to the regents, to the universities, but that you often didn't find yourselves talking about because you ran out of time based on the vast amount of routine business that would come through committee meetings. So we set this up, had an opportunity to talk about a whole variety of topics over that time. And I think we all walked away with the idea that these conversations were valuable and important. However, at the same time, we have been working diligently to try to streamline just the board's processes and how policies are applied and how we conduct the committee meetings. And we think at this point in time that we have the ability to keep those same conversations intact, but to roll them back into the University Governance and Operations Committee so that we have one more streamlined experience. We don't have a whole separate committee structure, but really can achieve the best of both worlds through that process. So the proposal that you have before you today is sunsetting that specific committee language while the spirit will continue to live on through other forums. Stand for any questions.
Imagine we're sunsetting a committee. How efficient of us. Are there comments or questions? Seeing none, I move that the board approve the revocation of the charter for the Strategic Initiatives and Planning Committee and review on first reading revision to ABOR Policy 1-206, Strategic Planning. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
And the motion carries. Thank you all. Our next item is the allocation of speed bond capacity to the universities. Brad, would you please present this item?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear. Regents, today we're bringing forward an item for the proposed allocation of recently expanded speed bond authority. So as you know, the legislature increased the capacity of the speed bond program, which allows the universities to borrow using their existing credit, but to have the debt payments associated with those educational facilities subsidized by state lottery revenue. So 80% of the cost is covered by the state through lottery revenues, while the remainder is paid by the universities. This allows the universities to advance key projects more quickly and to not have that additional cost burden of those essential investments fall on tuition or other sources of revenue. So the board has recently heard from the universities about their capital plans over the next couple of years, and especially over this year. Those plans include a lot of super important topics, really key investments for the state. With that, the board then has, so you're going to be, or you already voted on those capital plans earlier in today's agenda. The board then needs to pivot with that and say, how can we help to prioritize those projects within those plans by allocating this sort of preferential funding in a way that balances all of the different interests statewide. So the proposal that's been put before the board today considers the types of projects that the universities have set up, the available revenue for the projects, what is the most shovel ready and so forth, and hopefully hits that balance. So the proposed allocations that you'll be voting on include $123.5 million to Arizona State University, $87.75 million to Northern Arizona University, and $113.75 million to the University of Arizona. The ability to borrow those funds would be implemented over 2 years. So the first half is this year. The second half is planned for next year. And it again is designed to create balance across priorities. So with these funds at NAU, this will include investments in health education, which will include the building of their new nursing building, as well as much needed investments in the Klein Library. At the University of Arizona, it's continued investments in campus infrastructure and in the student experience. At ASU, this funding will be contributed towards the building of the ASU Health Headquarters in downtown Phoenix as part of the health engineering, public health, and medical school programs that the university is starting up. So taken together, this package is meant to speak to the region's priorities, the university's priorities, and really a careful stewardship of resources towards what will be the most impactful for the state. So with that, I assume the CFOs as well stand for any questions you might have about capital priorities and this decision specifically.
Are there questions from any of the board members on this? Seeing none, I move that the board approve the allocation of speed bond authority to universities as described in the executive summary. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. That motion carries. On the agenda, we are due for a 20-minute break and we are not going to do it. We have a handful of reports and we can just power through and end this meeting earlier than expected. So our next item is the report on the September 11, 2025 University Governance and Operations Committee meeting. Regent Pacheco, as committee chair, would you please present this item?
Thank you, Chair Goodyear.
Chair Good. Yeah.
On September 11th, the University Governance and Operations Committee convened. We began by hearing from the University of Arizona's athletic director regarding a first amended multiple year employment agreement for their head basketball coach. We then heard about the expected enrollment for fall of 2025. Following that, we discussed the annual capital plans for all three of our universities, ASU, NAU, and the U of A. as well as a request for adoption of the Arizona State Museum rates and fees from the U of A, and had quite a robust conversation around that even sort of was just meaty and robust. And then finally, the committee heard from board staff regarding a series of proposals and revisions to ABOR policies to streamline our processes and create greater efficiencies. The committee will reconvene in November and will focus on additional policy revision, remodeling, and modernization. Chair Goodyear, this concludes the University Governance and Operations Committee report.
Thank you, Regent Pacheco. Next is the Student Regents Report. Regents Fisher and Garcia.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Goodyear. First, we would like to formally welcome Regent McCain as his first meeting, and we're looking forward to seeing what you accomplished during your term. I would also like to welcome and introduce Student Regent Felipe Garcia, because this is his first full board meeting today. Working with him over the first 3 months of his term so far have been just incredible. I know that he's going to do good for the students in Arizona that he serves. We've been working really hard to correspond with students directly, kind of answer those questions and build future partnerships so that we have a more direct line of communication to what's actually happening at the ground level at our universities. I also had the opportunity to be a panelist along with Regent Pacheco on the Inside the Issues Education Solutions for Arizona Town Hall on Post-Secondary Education. It was really great to meet other leaders in the educational field in Arizona, and I just feel really optimistic that there's a lot of people doing good work to better and keep Arizona education with where we want it to be.
You did a fabulous job.
What?
You did a fabulous job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it was a fantastic panel. If you haven't gotten the chance to look at it, it's like a 2-hour segment and they cover the full academic spectrum. So that was really great. We've been continuing to plan for our final mental health and wellness listening session at ASU on October 10th, as well as I have some future engagements with the SHIO conference coming up right before that listening session. Yeah, we've just been kicking off really intentional engagements with student governments and leaders in conjunction with Regent Garcia. So I'll pass it to him to talk about what he's been doing.
Thank you, Regent Fisher, for your kind introduction. I have learned a lot from your leadership these past few months. I'm happy to report that in addition to my board responsibilities, I am currently working on connecting with student governments across the tri-university system. Regent Fisher and I are intent on identifying common ground for meaningful collaboration. On another note, I would like to thank President Cruz Rivera for showing me around yesterday. It was great getting to meet with university officials and student government leaders. I am eager to complete my orientations at ASU and U of A these coming weeks. I'm excited to share that I will be in New York City as a panelist for the Carnegie Summit on National Service this October. I look forward to meeting leaders from across the country as we work to adapt to the evolving needs of our communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Regents Fisher and Garcia. Our next item is the report from the Arizona Faculties Council. We have Dr. Alyssa Kawam with us today to present the AFC report.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Regents, university leaders, and esteemed colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the faculty at our 3 public universities. I want to begin with a simple but profound truth. Public higher education is not only about preparing students for career paths, it's about sustaining democracy, strengthening civil society, fostering character, igniting the economy, and promoting the well-being of our communities. At the heart of this mission is knowledge creation and the development of human capital in defense of truth. Knowledge drives economic growth, powers innovation, creates new industries, and promotes a competitive advantage. Knowledge is also a medium of transformation where we move from big ideas into practical solutions that improve all aspects of life. In other words, knowledge is both a driver of economic prosperity and a catalyst for social good. During fiscal year 2024 alone, NIH funding added $94 billion to the economy, with over 400,000 jobs added in each state. In the span of 2006 to 2021, university research led to 80% more startups and innovation and new ideas. When the government invests in university projects, the return on investment is 150 to 300%. These simple figures are striking, but perhaps what is more striking is to consider what happens if this investment stops. If annual public spending is cut by 50%, the average American will be at least $10,000 poor. And while that might not sound like much to a family trying to pay bills, feed children, in my case, buy dog food, afford healthcare, and save for retirement, that is a lot to lose. Across our 3 universities, there are thousands of such examples where we do good for the community, good for the university, and good for the economy simultaneously. In fact, during our last AFC meeting, in the span of just about 5 minutes, we were able to list over a dozen public serving projects aimed at building safer communities, creating jobs, advancing high-speed technology, and cultivating health within and across populations. We have projects that focus on the needs of veterans and military-connected families, provide pathways to college for young adults aging out of foster care, empowering education for students with disabilities, promoting sustainable food systems, advancing regenerative medicine, determining how to power all corners of our state, connecting through the power of the arts, as well as how to prevent the next pandemic, just to name a handful. Each effort at knowledge generation is a direct investment in the people and in the future of Arizona. Our 3 universities are the knowledge economy, and as such are the fundamental economic engines of the state. Honestly, I could spend all day discussing this transformational knowledge for the public good and still not have enough time to really get at what we do. This deep knowledge generation thrives best in a vibrant marketplace of ideas, where diverse perspectives are challenged, debated, tested, and shared. This is why academic freedom is indispensable. The freedom to ask difficult questions, reconsider the status quo, explore new methodologies, and challenge assumptions is not a luxury. It is the foundation upon which all human progress rests. Without it, universities risk becoming echo chambers, constrained by politics or ideology, rather than guided by curiosity and evidence. Academic freedom ensures that knowledge serves the public interest as a publicly held trust and not a narrow or transitory agenda. As professors, we play a unique role in this idea ecosystem. Our responsibility is not to react impulsively to current trends, viral videos, or popular opinion. Our centuries-old discipline as public-serving academics is to learn, serve, and contribute to the greater good through disciplined study, careful consideration of data, solicitation of critique, and the pursuit of outcomes. We have dedicated our lives to understanding the ways that the world and societies operate with the sole purpose of improving and sustaining life. Our universities demonstrate how free societies deliberate, disagree, and ultimately decide together. At this moment in history, when misinformation spreads far too quickly, civic trust is uncertain, and many feel lackluster about the democratic process, the role of the university is more important than ever. To defend democracy is to defend the conditions under which research, academic freedom, knowledge application, and civic engagement can flourish. This is the time, this is our time for Arizona to pull ahead of the pack and show the rest of the country how to rise to the challenge to do and be better. We have a golden opportunity to set the stage for the rest of the country, and we really can't let this time go to waste. This is the moment for us to stimulate and feed our knowledge economy, promote fiscal responsibility, and to do so as a collaborative partnership body. We are always so grateful for the continued support and encouragement from the board, and we have one simple ask for you all at this time. Help us be of good use to the public. Help us find new areas of service, pockets of funding, ways to collect data, avenues for the arts and the humanities, and opportunities to innovate. Help us leverage your vast networks to further evolve and empower our knowledge engines. Help us with projects that matter to you and where we can add our skills and talents. As faculty, we are not good. We are not the best at self-promotion. And we are asking you to partner with us to share our work so all of Arizona can benefit. Thank you for your time. I know I went a little bit over, but we worked really hard on this. Thank you for your time and for your stewardship of our public universities at this critical moment. And with that, I'm always happy to address any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Kwam. We are grateful for all that you do. This concludes the public session.
Chair, with your indulgence, can I make an announcement before you?
My indulgement?
Your indulgence.
You may indulge.
This was a nice moment. And now so that's fine. With the chair's permission, I'd like to make a quick announcement. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Regent Duvall, who has been honored with the Public Service Award of the Year, Service of the Year Award from AZ Bio. AZ Bio's mission is to support the needs of Arizona's growing life science ecosystem, and they have done this for the past 20 years in Arizona. That they recognize Regent Duvall is a significant honor and one that is fitting and well-deserved. As you all know, Regent Duvall has led several key areas of focus for this board over the years: the Arizona Teachers Academy, research and community grants, the Lumina Foundation initiatives on getting ahead, the establishment of AZ Transfer. He's a two-time regent, but this is his passion: improving healthcare in Arizona and improving the life science ecosystem is something he cares deeply about, and this is a well-deserved honor. And for that, thank you, Regent Duvall. Thank you, Chair.
Let's give him another round. Well done, Regent Duvall.
I feel very indulged.
Okay. Does anyone else need indulging? All right, this concludes the public session. A few announcements. For those attending tonight's reception, it is at the 1899 Bar and Grill patio beginning at 4 p.m. The faculty breakfast is scheduled at 7:45 tomorrow morning, right down the hall. Following the faculty breakfast, the board is scheduled to reconvene in executive session at 9 a.m. in the Doyle Reese Room for President Cruz Rivera's and Executive Directors Chad Sampson's review of assignments. Once again, I'd like to thank President Cruz Rivera and his staff, as well as all of the team at ABOR. They do marvelous work pulling these meetings off, and we are grateful for all you do. That's the final word. The board is now in recess.